Hey, Quinn Redeker, policemotortraining.com. Today we're going to talk about using the front brake for faster, easier turning. Okay? I think we can all agree somebody at some point has told us absolutely never, 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 danger, 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 do not use this front brake when you're doing slow speed maneuvers and the motorcycle is leaned over at all. You're asking to hit the pavement. Well, let's break that down for a second. I think we can agree that if the motorcycle is leaned over and we're going slow and we grab some front brake, that it's going to speed up that motorcycle wanting to go toward the pavement, right? Well, if I was to tell you, hey, listen, you need to throw the motorcycle over, how about I was to show you a technique to speed up the transition? You'd say, absolutely, that's great. Because what that would do is, if I was in a tight situation, I would now be able to get the bike into maximum lean quicker and effectively turn a tighter radius somewhere. I would love to do that, right? Well, this is that, ladies and gentlemen. So the difference is, we're not talking about grabbing front brake in this big ham-fisted, scary way. We're talking about gently, calmly tapping it once the motorcycle is past center in order to speed up the rate with which it heads toward whatever your full lock position is. Once I'm past center and I start falling over and I tap that front brake, it's going to help snap those bars into full lock as well. So if I'm leaned over this way and I'm starting to turn, the bike's past center, and I tap this front brake, not only is the bike going to fall over, but the bars are going to want to snap over also. So think about that as a benefit. Yes, it's scary conceptually because you haven't practiced it, but I've been doing this for years and it works great and it's not scary. It'd be like saying, hey, well, this thing right here, see this? If you turn it all the way, suddenly this thing takes off. Well, that sounds pretty scary, right? I don't want to do that. Well, you have a lot of experience because you ride your motorcycle a lot and you're a good rider. So you know what all this input means. You know that this 2 inches of range right here means the difference between going nice and slow and controlled, depending on the situation, and flying off of a canyon cliff or something, right? So you've mastered this technique. Now I'm asking you to try to master this one. It's not scary and it's not dangerous and it's a huge benefit. And the bottom line is, even if you use it just a little bit, the bars are going to start snapping over, the bike's going to start falling over, and that's really all we're trying to accomplish by using this. So we don't have to use it a lot. This isn't something you have to make major commitments to. We're just using it a little bit, and that's speeding that part of the whole transition over. And then everything else is normal back the other way. It does require that you cover the front brake. This is not a throttle on, throttle off, brake on, brake off. We need to overlap our controls a little bit, okay, in order for this to be smooth and comfortable. So I would definitely, if you don't already do this, work on riding around with your front brake covered. I have a video on that and kind of covers, pardon the pun, but adjusting your front brake so it's sitting in a good place. The bottom line with covering that front brake is that you want to be able to use your throttle pretty completely. We don't want a situation where the front brake's so far out there that by you twisting the throttle, you're now off the brake. So I want to be able to be full throttle. I'm full throttle right here and I can still use the brake, okay? So that's positioning wise for your hand. That's where you want to be in a comfortable spot. This second little joint here, that's about where I like my lever to sit. I still have good modulation, good control, and I still have enough travel for my finger when I'm rolling on the throttle that I still have control of the lever even when I'm at a lot of throttle. Situations I would use this, rapid transitions. So you're going to find yourself where you're going full lock one way and then full lock the other way. That's where I would use this. As soon as I'm starting to go over here, tap the front brake. I'm going to pick that bike up, going the other way, tap the front brake, and that's going to speed up the drop in, pick it up, speed up the drop in. So effectively between those two things, I'm saving a lot of time and I'm making this motorcycle lighter. Now I want to distinguish this from trail braking. Trail braking is a different situation and it's a different way of using the front brake. So with trail braking, quick recap on that, when we're coming into a section, we're using momentum, we're getting on the brakes as we're slowing the motorcycle down. So we're loading the front of the bike, we're effectively changing the geometry because we're loading that front suspension, right? We got pressure on the front tire, the bike's going to turn quicker, but as we're going through the turn, we're getting on the throttle and we're trailing off the brakes. Thus it gets its name, trail braking. So we're still on the brakes as we go through a turn. This is not that. We don't have that level of speed. So when we're using the brake in the way that I'm talking about, we're not getting any meaningful load on the front of the bike, but we have a lot of gravity and we have a lot of full lock turns. So the situation is different. And we don't want to just get on and trail off the brake in this slow speed situation. We more or less want to gently tap the brake. and then get out of it. All right, let's get on the blacktop.
Okay, so I got a couple cones set up, and you're going to see some chalk marks. These chalk marks are where I am both starting and finishing utilizing the front brake in this technique. Understand this is not a high-speed thing, and it's important to note, and I'm going to walk you through this, that once we are in position, meaning that the bars are turned and the bike is leaned where I want it, I'm out of the front brake, okay? So if I was doing a full lock circle and I'm leaned over, I would not want to grab the front brake. That would definitely throw me to the concrete. So those of you that are kind of under the impression, hey, this is a bad idea, in a situation where I'm already where I want to be, I'm already set and the bars are locked, I'm done needing the front brake, I would not use that. So I'm going to walk you through this a little bit. Also, for the GoPro footage, what I'm going to do is, this is me using the front brake. I'm going to index, I'm going to use the front brake, and then I'm going to be out of it. So I'm going to index, squeeze, and index again, so you'll see. And this, using the finger and the front brake in this index way, should coincide with when I'm actually hitting these chalk-like marks, okay? So let's just start this slow. So as I've talked about, so when I'm leaned over, I'm starting to lean over, I'm going to use the front brake to help pull the bike over. So if you look at these chalk lines, that's when I'm in and then I'm out, okay? So I'm in, out, and all it's doing is helping bring the bike both into full lock quicker and into lean quicker. It's dropping the bike over. Yes, it's slowing it down a little bit, but as I mentioned before, because these speeds are so slow, this isn't a similar type of benefit you get from trail braking where you're loading the front of the bike. You are slowing a little bit, which is good. But that's it. Just going in, I'm in, and I'm off. So let me index really good here. On, off. Nice and smooth. On, off. And what I feel in the handlebars when I do that, the bike starts falling over quicker, and I can feel the bars wanting to lock in. They just basically whip me in right back into shape here, right into full lock. You can feel that, okay? So here's what you don't want to do. Once I'm here, I want to get out. If I don't get out, then I'm not going to be able to continue. If I stay on the front brake in here, the bike is going to continue to want to go that way, and that's not what I want. I want to go that way. Again, we're transitioning. So getting on the brake and getting out of the brake is imperative. If you stay on the brake, it's going to make this very difficult, and at slow speeds, grabbing the front brake like that could definitely make us crash. So just more examples here. If I'm using it once I'm already locked in, so like I said, I'm in a turn like this, I'm already leaned over, I'm already at lock. If I use it now, the bike's going to want to hit the ground. I don't want to do that. Remember, we're talking about using this to get us into position. But once I'm there, I don't need it, okay? And that's where the danger can come in, is using it either ham-fisted or using it when I already have lock and lean. If I already have lock and lean, then I don't need this, because this is a tool to help me get to where I want to be. But if I'm already there, it's too late to use it. Also, if we're using this a little early, so before I'm starting to transition, if I'm using it here, again, it's going to keep making the bike want to turn because I'm leaned over. Now, if I use it when I'm stood up, right in this spot here, all we're really accomplishing is slowing the bike down. So it's critical that when we're tapping this brake, we're doing it once we start dropping in, okay? You got to get in and you got to get out of the brakes. If you stay on them, you're going to crash. If you grab them really late, once you've already got lock and lean, you're probably going to crash, and you've got no advantage for it. Or using it, there's no advantage. Okay? Any questions? Hit me up, and hopefully that made sense. As I mentioned in the classroom portion, as you guys can see, you need to be able to overlap these controls. So make sure you work on that and adjust this lever where it needs to be and get comfortable with that muscle memory.